I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. Everyone's saying it. It's definitely true. Andrew Quo, how are you on this gloriously sunny Monday? Is it Monday? Monday morning. What's going on?
What's going on? Everything's going on. After a week of straight rain, I'm on the come up. Not only vibe-wise, not only Knicks-wise, but home-wise, man. Everything's looking...
Your aura has really changed over like the last 24 hours. It is sort of like a vibrant, pulsing aura. Like if I was looking at the colors of your aura, they'd become the glorious hues. They're so vibrant right now.
Mm-hmm. They went from perfect to even more perfect, sort of like this pod. It's amazing. I amaze myself.
That is the story of our pod, from perfect to perfecter.
That's right.
Yeah, dude, it was really dismal the last week. I gotta say, I had some plans with people, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do it. Like, nah, it's too rainy. It's just too grisly outside to even think of socializing.
Yeah, and
is that just seasonal depression?
No, it's just inconvenience. Rain sucks, like especially in a city like New York, where the subways are kind of gross and soggy, and there's the water turns a specific New York City color depending on where you're at. It's just like not a pleasant. The sewers don't work that well, so like you have a lot of pools of water on every street corner, and then the bars are slippery. It's just like not ideal, especially for like a week straight.
These are the takes that the listeners tune in for. Rain sucks.
Rain.
You heard it here first. On Cookies Hoops, they took a stand. The only ones willing to tell it how it is about big rain.
Yeah, show me where like the romance of rain happens outside of the movies.
What about, let's just set the stage. You're outside, it's a gentle spring rain. You're in the park with a loved one, a light rain. You know what? I gotta be honest. It still doesn't quite hit.
Well, it sucks, right? Because the slice that you're eating, you can devour quickly, but the second slice is gonna get rained on, and like no one likes to eat water pizza.
Again, the takes that we deliver. Wet pizza bad, rain inconvenient. Like, as I said, perfect to perfecter.
That's what I'm saying, man.
So you've been outside of your rain takes, which have been the source of great controversy. Yeah, you are the rainmaker, the rain man over here.
Yeah.
Now I understand you've been working on your kitchen.
Ooh.
You are obsessing over kitchen utensils, kitchen counters. What is going on in Quo's kitchen?
I gotta get serious. I gotta shake it off. All right, time to get serious.
And I'm saying my kitchen in as much of a Gucci Mane voice as I can. It's like Quo's kitchen.
Well, I've been online a little bit, and I've been looking at these America's Test Kitchen videos and gadgets and doodads and ovens and towels, and I've decided, I'm a grown-ass man, if the Knicks are gonna come up this hard, maybe I have to come up that hard. And
I'm always saying this about you,
right?
It's time for the Quo come up. Yes.
So I was watching these Knicks, this number one ranked defense in the last 10 games, crush the NBA in my kitchen, and I looked around and I was like, it's time for me to crush this kitchen, but on a budget, because like the Knicks, we don't have all the money in the world to spend. The money has been spent. And I was like, what small things can I do in my life, specifically in my cooking life, to make it that much better? And I started doing hours of research about like the best towels, Williams-Sonoma dish towels. I get them. The best
were they indeed
incredible. They're they could be heirlooms. They wash great. There's people online who are like, I have my mother's grandmother's great grandmother, whatever. Like it's been passed down like through years of usage. They're striped. They look normal. They're not that expensive. I think they're pretty expensive for towels, but this is what I'm talking about. Upgrade, baby. So I've been putting hooks all around my kitchen in order to like hang like dustpans. I think I bought an amazing wok. It's coming today, to be continued. I got
Did you have a wok previously? Is this the wok upgrade?
No, I did not have a wok because I recently upgraded to a gas stove from basically my whole life of an electric stove.
Wow, welcome, King. It's a new frontier.
Yeah, I don't know if I love it. The ring bothers me.
I have never lived anywhere without a gas stove. I feel very blessed for this experience. I'm gas range all the way, baby.
Yo, gas is like such a terrifying natural resource to use as energy. I don't know why we do it. I'm an induction boy. Like eventually when I make that Julius Randle money, I'm going to get an induction stove, I think. That's my favorite. But like, yo.
Like I understand the moral issues with using gas, but man, that open flame.
But the practical issues sucked too, right? Kind of smells funny. Is that my upper lip or is that a gas leak? Is that the Knicks fouling up another game, or is that my gas? Like I don't know. But also, it blows up buildings on 2nd Avenue occasionally, once in a while.
Look, I didn't say it's perfect. I said it's perfecter than an electric stove.
Yeah. Have you ever messed with an induction stove though?
I don't really know what that is.
It's a magnet technology. But it's basically electric based, obviously, and it's super efficient. It is based off of magnets, and
yeah. My parents got that, and
your parents have it.
There on the holidays, and I despise it.
Why?
Oh, it just sucks. It turns off all the time. It's like almost like digital. Like it's. I hate it. I hate that stove.
Oh, Luddite over here. Have you heard about these kids who are getting off smartphones? Is this you in the kitchen? You're like, no, yo, I'm gonna be cooking with this piece of wood and these Knicks pamphlets from these games, and we're gonna burn
I like
them.
it better. Have you heard about these kids? They won't use induction ranges.
Well, induction is
they're
safe
just like
or whatever.
Gas or nothing.
It's amazing. It is like it heats stuff super fast. It gets stuff really scalding hot, and it turns off. It doesn't detect it.
I'm telling you, it sucks.
No, I've had one. I have the portable ones. They're great for like
la
hot
la.
pot. No, they're like $20.
Ooh la la! Look who's got the portable induction stuff. Like I've seen you pull up. You're in the club. Oh, Quo wants to do a light sautéing.
Well, this is a definite white man talking here, because if you go to any hot pot place, you know these dinky things I'm talking about. They like plug in, they're like, and they're like $20, $30, $40 if you're
la
feeling crazy. Yeah, like the cost of N beer at a certain Christmas restaurant.
At a Christmas restaurant, for example, yeah.
That's right. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about these kids choosing to opting out of technology. The New York Times just ran a story about it. I knew of a gaggle of 20-somethings, maybe like 10 years ago, who were doing this. They're like,
yeah, I remember pitching a story also to the New York Times 10 years ago about a bunch of French kids that were doing this, and it was that same era. It was like the cool kids of Paris, like using only flip phones and not using smartphones.
The kids I knew were like art related in Red Hook and around there, and as a crew they were just like, oh, we're all doing it, everyone is kind of getting rid of this evil social media stuff. And they had like printed maps and little like subway cards, because New York City, you still need that stuff sometimes. It gets wild in the subways on the weekends, but they gave it up because it was too inconvenient. Like they missed too many important like hangs and like missed connections that they were like, it's not worth it.
Well, that's what makes it so seductive that even if you can say we're going to opt out of Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and whatever, Snapchat, like you're not going to be part of that sort of likes and attention economy. It's like the reason that smartphones are so popular is not because of those, it's because of the fact that you're just walking around with a little computer. Like you have access to information, as you said, and maps and weather. It's like, it's just all right there. I mean, that's why they're omnipresent and will be for the rest of time.
I believe
not
there's
necessarily social media.
Yeah, I believe there's a company that's about to drop a phone that has the bare basics, and it looks nice, it looks like an iPhone, but it just has the capabilities for what you're talking about, like a wallet for when you fly, for when you go through the subways in New York now, and then weather, maps, and text. That's it.
Yeah, it's weird because, first off, the idea of the Luddites, like, and I saw that the article you're referring to, and if you had said, Ben, who are the Luddites, before researching, I would have said, I think it was like a religious sect or something, who didn't like technology. It was kind of like the Amish, like Pennsylvania Dutch or something. The Luddites.
They make amazing chairs and eggs.
That's what I would have assumed.
Yeah.
That they were like a anti-technological group that lived in the past. In fact, that's not the case at all. Did you know this? Maybe you know this. They were highly skilled weavers who made clothing, and they were like a guild. They were successful. They were like working class, but they were weavers, highly skilled weavers. And then the mechanical sewing, not even a sewing machine, like mechanical looms. I don't even know whatever you'd want to describe it as, but like the mechanization of their craft came around.
Are we talking about the Industrial Revolution?
It's part of that game, that whole Industrial Revolution, motif.
Right.
Yeah. But so they were like, no, we want like labor stuff. We want like concessions. We want like this fair wage. And they started breaking the machines. And that's kind of what it was. There was no such person even as like Lud. Like it was a fictional person that was created, something Lud, who was like the kind of like Santa Claus of this rebellion.
Wait, there was no guy named Luddy Healed? I thought it was his whole thing. Savior.
Bloody healed. But anyway, it was a labor movement that was brutally oppressed. They made it punishable by death to destroy a mechanical like weaving loom in London or in UK, and they were like literally like murdered by police operating on behest of like mechanical weaving companies. Anyway, that's your little history lesson. You can just go on Wikipedia and they'll do a much better job than I just did. All that to say, I was like, we've been talking about Luddites, and I've always viewed them as kind of like doofuses, and honestly, they were tight. They were a labor group. So anyway, that's your Luddite lesson.
How tight could they be, though? They remind me of someone who maybe made $1 billion, a few $1 billion, like sending people to space and turning cars into batteries and trying to change the economy of energy of the world, and then buying something and exposing himself as possibly the dumbest person to ever have that much money.
Yeah, that's not like the Luddites. He's the opposite. They were
Are the Luddites
workers.
that smart? If the Luddites are murdering people because of
no,
technology,
they were
how
getting
smart could
murdered.
they
were getting murdered. No,
that's
they
not
were
smart
they were
either.
I'm saying they were the victims of like police brutality on behalf of like the industry of mechanical looms.
I hate to be a win-loss guy, but it sounds like the Luddites blew a 3-1 lead. They were the smartest guys in the room until they were definitely not the smartest people in the room.
The movement was said to be named after Ned Ludd, who may not have actually existed, an apprentice who allegedly smashed 2 stocking frames, and whose name became emblematic of machine destroyers. So they were going around breaking the machines, and they literally made it punishable by death to break a machine. Anyway.
Like if someone gives up their iPhone or, tablet, whatever, their Google phone, that doesn't make them smarter. It makes them more like it gives them an ethical stance. But I wouldn't say anybody without social media is smarter than someone with social media, right? That's not the qualifier.
No, there were some quotes in that article. The person was like, "It felt like my brain turned back on when I logged off." I'm like, I can see that though.
They should buy a walk.
But I get that. If you're like, look, there is a numbing quality to just thumbing aimlessly through social media. Oh, look, here's my algorithm now. I can understand that if you were a young person who has been around this your entire life and did not sort of see this rise up. If it's just been omnipresent and you say, I'm turning it off. I'm like, wow, look, I'm looking at the stars now. Wow, look at this. I get it. And I can see that being a valid experience. But if you're old enough to remember when this stuff wasn't there, I don't think it would feel quite as remarkable.
And obviously, I don't fall into the category of people who smash their computers and stuff. I like all this stuff. But this happens in sports all the time. We don't have to talk about sports right away. But it came up a lot during like the World Cup. Everyone's like, this is the beautiful game. This is perfect. And I'm like, you sound like somebody who maybe enjoys, like, has rules about making pasta sauce, or like has a specific, grind and abides by certain rules, right? And when I was thinking about this luditry, is that a word? As I was watching this World Cup finals, because I'm like, no one has thought this through and changed the rules so we can find out who actually wins a match. Like, is this game so beautiful that in the final game of a tournament that's the most important tournament on Earth, we still don't know who the better team is, and we have to play a different game in the last few moments? Like, this just seems basic.
I get the complaint against penalty kicks, and it's weird, as I've seen people allude to, it is a free throw contest at the end of a basketball game. Like, okay,
it's fun in itself.
That was a great game. Now let's shoot some free throws. Like, I get it, and it does feel like a concession to let's get out of here, which is odd for like the biggest game every 4 years. Like, here it is, the 2 best teams, everything riding in this. Like, all right, dude, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah,
let's get out of here. Penalty kicks. Like, I mean, look at the time. We've got to get home. Because, like, why not just play sudden death? I'm sure people who are smarter than I and more familiar with the sport could be like, yeah, but what if you're just there for the next 7 hours? I'm like, yeah, so what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay, though.
Yeah.
No one can score for 3 days. Yeah, but that's kind of sick.
Yeah, and I thought about this Luddite thing because what if it doesn't have to happen at the end? What if the whole game could be nudged in a way? I know there's tradition. I know people get real serious about their footy. But, like, I always thought, what if you removed a couple players from the pitch? What if you took away the idea of a goalie and made the goal smaller? And you could still protect the goal, but you can't use your hands. Like, I don't know. That would never happen. But, like, I started doing some light Googling, and I found that, like, the regulation for these pitches vary. Like, why do some soccer pitches look smaller than others? Like, oh, there's no rule. You can play on, like, a big one or small one. I'm like, oh, it seems they can solve this 0-0 tie situation. Or in the World Cup's finals situation, a thrilling 3-3 game that was, like, unbelievably exciting, like, amazing. And then it was just over, and it's just like, well, this will go into record books as a tie, but then the winner through penalties. And I'm like, what a bummer. I mean, these guys are out of gas. You can't really play forever, or could you? or could you pull the goalie? I don't know. In the end of hockey games, you have that option. It just feels like we're just people on this earth making up rules. Like we can change this stuff.
But isn't the counter to that like, all right, we're tied after playing 90 minutes, like another whatever overtime is, 30 minutes. Like, for all purposes, this is a tie. Like we don't, maybe we don't, like, and I'm just arguing the alternative. Like, hey man, at this point, it's been proven these teams are as good as each other.
They
Someone's
should
just gotta
give two
take that home
trophies. They should give 2 trophies out then. Both.
I mean, I
teams
don't
won.
have I don't have a problem with that, but it is. I also feel like I see people complaining and saying, "Well, this is just like a bullshit way to end the game," and I not wrong, but also one of those things you're like, let's just end this. That's 90 minutes. Like no one had the lead. These teams are evenly matched, or these teams were, able to take advantage of their opportunities in the exact same way. The game's been going on. They're exhausted. Like fuck it.
Yeah. What I think they should do is they should stop playing after double overtime, double bonus time, and judge the winner by the quality of their tattoos. So if you, this is the right way. So if you had and people can wear their kits and everything. They don't have to like expose their like tramp stamps. But like, let's say you had a style contest at the end and you lined up Argentina versus France and you compare skin fades, you compared like eagles on the back of their necks, you compared sleeves. The winner is who has the less cringe setup. And the winner's
wow,
France.
Argentina has lost because everyone looks like a nightlife promoter.
It sucks, man. Like,
wow, your whole team has tables at Greenhouse.
if you cannot win the footy match with your feet and you rely on your style, and your style is to like hit up Dime Square on a Saturday night or like Nolita, places where Jay-Z might have been, Jack's wife Frida, then you may forfeit that W.
Yeah, I found it hard to root for Argentina for some of the reasons you just mentioned. Like Messi, goated, high key, low key goated, sure.
Allegedly.
The rest of the team, just like, I don't know, man. It
Styles
definitely,
are tough.
It's not my vibe. I'll just say that.
No, a bunch of those kind of skin fade guys walk in with sleeve tattoos and like eagles on their necks, and you're just like, man, they're gonna order like the last teeny that New York Magazine has blogged about.
They're getting the famed Negroni.
Yeah, that's right. A round of Negronis for my mates.
Wait. What about this? Mezcal Negronis.
And I saw people.
Ooh la la.
I saw people on my feed being like, "Listen, everyone in the footy community just wants Messi to win one because like he deserves it." I'm like, "Are we that obsessed? Like he's still the GOAT, right? Like Ronaldo's still amazing." Obviously sports fans are obsessed with like accolades, and winning the World Cup is no joke. But like, I don't know. It feels like Argentina were certainly the villains, and I love that country. We were just at an Argentinian bar that was lovely, and we dined on delicious langostinos. Like, but that team is harsh, right? That's a harsh toke. That locker room culture is a specific way.
I spent some time in Buenos Aires a while back, and it did not make me necessarily root for Argentina.
Explain.
I like the city. I did not find Argentinians to be like the chillest. I can't say I personally really had bad experiences, but like when people told me stories of their own experiences, let's just say that I know this is stereotypical, but like the Nazis moved there for a reason.
Yeah.
It is a country that is very proud of being a European stock in South America. Like, and someone on Twitter was like, "Hey, why do they all look German?" It's like, I don't know. Weird. I mean,
Yeah, it's just like,
again,
I'm gonna, yeah.
cool city, like the city. I did not have bad experiences, but as a vibe, Argentinians are not the best. They're not well liked throughout South and Central America, like infamously so.
I mean, my traveling South American game is terrible. So, but I believe you. I mean, some of those tattoos like look to me like decorations. Like I'm like, ooh, that looks like an eagle.
I just mean if you ask people who are from Mexico, other Brazil, do you like Argentinians? The answer is often not.
And this is a harsh take. I know not all Argentinians. Obviously, we were just chilling at an amazing.
Hey man,
Argentinian
they just won the
spot.
World Cup. Like, congrats to them. Like
Yeah.
we're not. I'm not even hating on Argentinians. I'm saying this is their reputation.
I mean, if someone who looked like me, an Asian king, was like, I'm moving to Boston, and I'm like, I know them. There's elected officials there that are Asian and all this stuff, but I'd be like, ooh, are you sure? Where in Boston though? And they're like, oh, like around MIT. I'm like, you're safe. But if they were like, yeah, we're gonna move to like an hour away from the Boston, in the middle of
I just want an
Massachusetts.
inside track on the Defensive Player of the Year award. I feel like it makes more sense if I'm in the Boston area.
But what if I'm the best Boston citizen in the best state of the union? I don't know. But like, I don't know. Regionalization, to back up your heater of a take, like the world has pockets of stuff we can talk about. Like I'm not a huge fan of parts of China, but like Taiwan is my favorite place on earth. Like not everything has to be like, but we're all alive and healthy. Like things. That's why the World Cup is so awesome, right? Because the teams kind of take on the world history of their countries and the religions, everything. And
I will say they are absolutely obsessed with soccer there. Like it is outrageous. So like they had that dog, they wanted it more, but it is not like, oh, it's popular here. It's bananas. Like
Yeah.
when there's like a River Boca game on, the city just shuts down. It's like the Super Bowl. And people are watching in restaurants and bars, and people are standing outside looking through the windows. It is a ghost town when there's like a big game on. They are 100% about that life.
Yeah, I find this to be the case, and I don't really want to talk about the soccer as a game, but like to me, it's not that it's such a good game. It's cultural. It spans generations. It's about where you live, where you're from, all that, and we see that across sports everywhere, especially American football. If you talk to someone from Buffalo or Green Bay, they're just like, oh yeah. I think I told you the story. My buddy lived in Green Bay for a while, and I was like, what do people do during the games? Is it actually a ghost town? He's like, oh yeah, you're either at someone's house or you're there. And I'm like, wouldn't that be a great time for crime to happen if like no one's downtown? He's like, oh no, even the criminals are watching the game. It is like a siesta. It is a social siesta. Everyone just does the same thing. I'm like, what about the punks? Do they throw huge parties? Do they take over the streets? I'm like, no, the punks are obsessed with Aaron Rodgers, man. It's like, oh, so like it's wonderful, but like in New York, you don't really get that. And in LA, you don't get that. Like there's Knicks fans, but when we win 7 in a row, we're like, bing bong, and then we go wait in line at Jack's Wife Frida with a bunch of dudes with skin fades.
Yeah, I mean, the Super Bowl, I would say, is equivalent, and maybe in other places, but New York is just too international to have one event that dominates in that way. Mm-hmm. What would you say, like the presidential election? I'm trying to think of something that would be
No, I know
a
people would
mass
skip
event. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I can't think of anything that's like, wow, the city is like abandoned, other than literally Christmas or like holidays that a large percentage of the population leaves.
And yeah, there was this kind of shaming that I was kind of thinking about people being obsessed with the World Cup online in real life, and people who were not being like, you guys are really strange. Like, you guys care this much about a game like this. And I was thinking about the time of year, And how do we celebrate this week? Should we get a Christmas dinner? Should we go to get some sort of celebratory thing? And I was like, it's weird. Like, I don't hate Christ. Like, that's seems pretty
Whoa.
chill to me.
These are the takes that people log on for. Quo does not hate Christ. You heard it here first.
So
I've been telling everyone for years that you are the biggest Christ hater I've ever met. This dude can't stand Jesus.
I had a heater of a take, and you just extinguished it. You just I was about to throw an even hotter take out there, and you just stepped in front of it to give the play-by-play.
Dude, bring the walk. Let's go.
No, it's the moment's lost. The moment's lost because
I
disagree.
I disagree.
Somebody pulled a red card. The red card is like, oh. The lesser of the take you'll never know because you just trampled all over it was, is it stranger to be obsessed about a World Cup game or to get drunk with your coworkers to celebrate the birth of Christ with like drinks of like brandy and eggnog and cream and like Xerox machines and lampshades on your head like crowns of thorns?
You don't see the lampshade on the head like you used to.
Is it because of LED lights?
That's probably part of it. You also don't see the thing where like married couples put their keys into a jar and then like they pick one out and they like spouse swap. You don't see that as much.
Is that a Christmas thing or is that like...
I feel like that was like a suburban neighborhood legend that like...
Shout out to the ice storm.
You'd meet up, you guys would like mow your lawns and
you
head
guys.
on over, and then you'd go home with someone else's spouse.
Well, it was like
after
the
wearing
70s.
a lampshade on your head.
Right. It was the 70s, and it was like people were doing them, right? Like, for lack of a better word. It was the era of self-discovery, right? So, like, you weren't leaning upon any sort of societal restrictions to live your best life. And that got squashed real quick. So we're at a point where you can't even disagree about Kyrie Irving on Twitter.
That's true. But yeah, your point that you're making, the larger point about what enthusiasm for the World Cup. I mean, or Christ.
Yeah, pick one.
Yeah, which you'd like. Have you been to like the Christmas bars in New York? I've been to one a couple times. There's one called Rolf's, and I forget exactly what street it's on. Maybe it's on 15th or 16th. It's somewhere around. Maybe it's in the 20s. I forget. Anyway,
we should clarify before we go on. It is Christmas restaurants are all French restaurants, but you're talking above and beyond.
Okay, so it's all right. It's I was more or less correct here. So it looks like it's on 3rd Avenue between 22nd and 23rd, and I think it's year round, but it's all full of lights. It's full of lights and ornaments, and you go in there, and it's aggressively Christmassy. That's its deal. It's like a Christmas bar, and they serve eggnog and like warm drinks,
gingerbread cookies.
I mean, that is the vibe, and I believe Rolf's. I guess it's German by theme. I've been there before, and it's a thing though. Like, if you go by there this season, there'll be people lined up, 30 people outside. It is a thing.
Okay, I'm imagining the menu. It's like, okay, alcoholic gingerbread houses, alcoholic chocolate milk or hot chocolate, alcoholic turkey. Like, what do people, ham? What do you eat on Christmas usually?
I don't know. I'm looking at their IG. I guess they do serve food.
Of course they do.
How many followers? How many followers do you think they have?
7.5. That's overreaching.
84,000.
Damn! Christmas is back.
Only 2 mutuals.
Oh, we name names. Name names, man. Do it.
I'm not. All right, hold on. Let's see. I'll tell you who follows.
Hot Dog Legs and Pablo Torre. Whoa, the two of the greatest.
Jed Berger and Jesse Miller Gordon. Follow
Shout out
Rolf's
to Jesse
NYC.
Miller Gordon. Wait, you know someone named Jed
Exposed here
Berger?
Yeah, that's my guy.
That's like Ned Ludd. All right,
Dude,
I want to
he's
meet. I
he's
want
the
to meet.
leader. Jed's a great dude. He is a follower of Rolf's German restaurant as well.
He's like, damn, this restaurant was a great experience. Crush that follow button.
I want to see what they're up to.
I'm tired of looking up the name.
Still doing the Christmas thing over there. Huh. You think they'll maybe become like, I don't know, Arbor Day themed, Easter? No, still Christmas.
I mean, it's pretty tight. It would suck to work there, but in the middle of August, it'd be kind of great to get hot eggnog and alcoholic gingerbread houses. That's what I want.
Are you thinking of the? That's what we all want. That's what men want.
Yeah. Eggnog.
All men want is an alcoholic gingerbread house, and it's disgusting.
Is this gingerbread gonna make me fucked up? It's like, this is Christmas. Damn, that
all right,
gingerbread hit hard.
Hold on. I will eat the gingerbread, but I gotta know. Will I be like super fucked up off of it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Alcoholic gingerbread.
Is it
house.
Christmas or not? It's like, I'll be good. Don't kick me out.
When I crack the door of this gingerbread house, is there going to be like alcohol inside the small door?
Yeah.
Like,
When I devour this roof. Yeah.
Like, will I stagger out of here after I eat the shingles?
That's right. Are these chuckles glued to the roof of this gingerbread house gonna fuck me up? It's like, especially the yellow one.
Fam?
Bro. Do you see the line of skin fades out there? Of course it's gonna fuck you up.
Bruh, I need to know. Is this novelty cookie house going to fuck me up?
I mean, my whole life I've been kind of Kyrie Irving about this, because Christmas is kind of a deranged holiday, man. Like, when I found out what it was, or when I realized, I was like, what is Santa Claus? What is he? Why is he wearing that? I'm like, oh, this is bonkers. It's like, why are there elves running around? Sleigh bells? Rudolph? What the hell is this, man? Very strange stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're taking this a little more literally than it was intended. I mean, are we really talking reindeer?
Yeah, we are. Yo, Rudolph is a thing.
Enough. I mean, as RX nephew said,
Oh, Jesus.
they fighting over Jesus' birthday. How the fuck you know Jesus' birthday? Who the fuck is that white man Santa Claus? They said that blank was eating kids. Why would I let that man lie to my kids? Why would I go out buying gifts and blame it on that guy named Santa? Shit, a guy climbs through my roof, I'm beating his ass in the head with a hammer. If you eat my cookies, beat you with a hammer. Drink the kid's milk, beat you with a hammer. You buying like 100-something toys? Well, Santa never gave me a toy. I think he said it best.
I think the image of him leaving out glasses of milk for his kids and then beating someone with a hammer who comes down the chimney to steal one of them is pretty on brand.
Timeless, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, it sounds like he's setting a trap for Santa. Like the cookies
is that
are out,
entrapment?
the milk is out. Yeah,
Milk entrapment.
like you're putting the cookies and milk out. Well, who are they for? They're for your kids? Then why are they out by the chimney? And why are you hiding behind the tree with a hammer?
Yeah. Why are they next to the TV with the World Cup game on? Why are they next to the smartphone that has Facebook on it? Like, it's almost like you're inviting me. You didn't invite me to come down the chimney to your house, but you are inviting me to drink this glass of milk.
And now I'm being beaten in the head with a hammer by our ex-family member.
And having a 70s style key party with your wife.
So anyway, Rolf's, check it out. It's a Christmas bar. It's followed by Jed Berger and Jesse Miller Gordon. They are hit them up. They are the experts.
I mean, maybe we should go and celebrate a strange.
One of our mutual friends who does not follow them was like, "Hey, I'm doing my birthday over there. Do you want to come along?" And I was like, I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I'll pass, but respect.
And then I was like, what the fuck? You're going to pass on my birthday?
All right, so you had mentioned Twitter and Elon earlier, and I just kind of like blew through it.
As you do.
Just ignored your delicately laid trap for a segue. You
No
laid
one
the
called you
cookies
the
and milk out.
transition god. You're the half-court king over here.
I came blundering down the chimney with my wok, and you brained me with a hammer. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Twitter is not flames emoji, despite Elon declaring it such. That I guess free speech is back. You know, the bird is free, and so on. Twitter has become it's become gross. Is that a fair word? Elon's presence on Twitter is felt, and I don't think that's a positive thing.
Death by a platform's death by like politics or controversy is one thing. Like that is annoying too, but I accept the terms of that discussion, right? If it's about free speech, if it's about ownership, if it's about wealth, these are things that I hate to think about, but fine. If someone has enough money to catch and destroy something, I don't have much to say about that other than like I really like Twitter and I miss it. But death by cringe is like very difficult to accept because Elon is just embarrassing, and then it makes this whole thing embarrassing. It's like, are you following Elon Musk stuff on Twitter? I'm like, I am ashamed that I know about all these uncool things he thinks about.
This is it, right? When he came over and people were like, just gotta let the Nazis back. And I was like, whatever. You know, I'm not saying that's a good thing. Whatever, man. Like, we'll see how this changes the user experience. Because my feed has never been populated by Nazis.
Yeah, I don't know where
now
that is.
or later or at any point. I've never been like, oh, these fucking Nazis, they're just flooding my feed. This has never been part of my experience, and I'm not saying that they're not there, that people have not been harassed and offended and mistreated by the Twitter Nazis, but I just have not seen them. That has not been my experience. Mm-hmm. Just as the conservatives are having trouble finding child porn, like, again, it's just not been my user experience. Mm-hmm. So when so when Elon took it over,
Carb on carb,
not to be confused with Elton Brand, the Sixers Phantom GM. When Elon came in, I didn't really feel like the difference in the site was tangible other than his presence. And that was distasteful. I don't enjoy being on Twitter and being confronted by him. Like his face, his takes, his thoughts. It is not the way I want to look up information on kind of a streaming real-time ticker tape. Is like, what is he thinking about and talking about? I don't enjoy that. But over the last week, as he's sort of spiraled, it's become so embarrassing that it's kind of polluted the entire experience. Like, oh, let me log on and see what Elon is doing and like what he's deleting. I'm like, that's not the Twitter that I want to use. It's like being in a lame person's house and you're like, wait, it's just us now, huh? It's just me and this lame person. We're sitting around your couch and we're like, gonna wife swap? Like, I'm out.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm trying to equate it to like the most annoying person at a Christmas bar. And let's say you're just like chilling, you're eating your alcoholic gingerbread, and you're like, yo, that person's wearing a weird elf costume, LOL. And that person with the elf costume comes over and is like, are you talking to me? Are you guys talking about my elf costume? I'm like, my bad. Yes. Yeah, we were, but like, okay, we understand that this is your house of elves. It's like, are you guys still talking about me? You want me to get you kicked out? I think we should kick you out, but maybe I'll let you back in. I'm like, oh, dude, you're so annoying now. It's just like, but you guys were talking about me. And it's like, okay, we gotta go because like you are just insufferable. That's like Elon Musk, man. Like his whole thing with defining what doxing is. So in my whole like part of my brain that's like, we're all alive and healthy and watching a game. What are we angry about? I'm like, he is a megalomaniac narcissist who had enough money and could borrow enough money from enough banks to buy this thing so he could display his narcissism. Why should we be surprised? I've been trying to live a Twitter life, a site I really love. I love this site. I've been trying to live a life without. I muted him. I want the jokes though, so I didn't. They still come up when people mention him, but I don't follow his personal account. Can I live a social media life without thinking about Elon Musk?
My thing is seeing him get owned online and flip out. There is an entertainment quality to that for sure. You know, when he shut down Twitter Spaces because people made him sad, I'm like, that's funny. That's objectively funny. The guy bought the site and just keeps getting owned by people in this incredibly public sense. Like, he put up a poll last night and was like, should I step down from running Twitter? And I'm like,
Yeah.
From what I saw the results, it was overwhelmingly yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, my thing is also that, like, you make the point, like, I don't want to think about Elon Musk ever. I don't care about his opinions. I do not care about him. I think he is an intensely lame person. Like, he sucks.
He's
I
a
don't
loser,
want to
yeah.
be confronted by him. He is a fucking nerd. Like, I went back and watched that Saturday Night Live monologue.
You did?
Have you seen that recently?
Fuck
someone's
no,
like-
man.
No, but someone's like, you got to remember who this is. I'm like, that's true. I don't really watch his interviews and stuff. And I went and watched it. I'm like, oh, right. This guy is like completely non-functional. Like completely. He's up there saying, he's like, I have Asperger's. Like he can't
for sure.
talk.
Yeah.
He is, I had forgotten that he isn't this like Dr. Claw stroking a cat with his metal glove. He's a fucking dork. Like he can't function, and you're seeing this in real time. Like, oh right, you are someone who actually can't function and doesn't understand interpersonal dynamics, and has given yourself this platform that no one who talks like you and thinks like you and behaves like you should ever have, let alone subject it to the lads from Cookies Hoops.
Well,
That's the real crime here.
Like, I do not hate Tesla as an idea. I think there needs to be a company that does what Tesla does. I'm not even mad at that company. I think the board of directors probably feels the same way about their CEO. But, like, just because this has been discussed endlessly online. It is just because someone has a ton of money doesn't make them funny. They shouldn't necessarily crush an SNL monologue. They shouldn't necessarily be the head of Twitter. I thought he was going to own Twitter, but it seems like he wants to be Twitter, sort of like Lil Wayne is music. And like this, I don't want to this is super boring, but like someone's wealth should not dictate how much power they have over something that they don't know anything about. So like you could be, this happens in nightlife or in normal life all the time. It's just like, well, I'm rich. How dare you treat me this way? It's like, sir, you're being very rude to the waiter. It's like, you don't know how much money I have. You're poor. And I'm like, that may be the case. I shopped for dish towels for months and pulled the trigger late at night after eating a bunch of gingerbread. But like, it doesn't make you chill.
Reeling around your home, staggering, bumping into walls, just like a roof, a chimney, like falling behind you.
That's right. But there's no reason Elon Musk should be good at this. There's no reason Joseph Tsai should be good at dealing with a complicated issue within Barclays Center, right? Like, sure, you're rich. I'll give you that. But you shouldn't be talking about what Kyrie Irving, the 7-6 things he should be doing. Like, you're just rich. Like, I know a person who's not rich who has a moral compass, right?
But this is, I would not say unique to now, but it's just more visible. Maybe back in like the Gilded Era, when there wasn't the sort of omnipresence of people who wanted to be omnipresent, you could look at these barons and say like, oh, they're very astute. They're
Sure.
the titans of industry. They are smart businessmen. They're there for a reason. Like there's a meritocratic sense to their success, and you see it now. To your point, it's like, so you invested in like PayPal early on, and everyone else kind of did the work, and you kind of got rich off of that. And your family owned an emerald mine in South Africa,
Right.
all right, which is very sus, to say the least.
Right.
And you put some money into some ideas other people had in the tech world, and those were smart. But it doesn't really mean that you're good at stuff.
Yeah. And
Wealth and making smart decisions doesn't correlate to being good across the board. And of course, we see this in politics all the time, right? It's like, well, I made $1 billion, so I think I should run the city. I'm going to run the city like a business. Like, yeah, but it's not a business.
Yeah.
It's a city. These are different things.
I'm a police officer. I should be the mayor of an entire city, and then talk about rats. But like, yeah. So I'm insufferable as it is, as you know better than anybody. I am tough to be around. Imagine if the Knicks won the championship. Like I would be.
Shit.
I would be the worst person. I would be like, am I the king of this Christmas restaurant? It's like, what happens? Like, well, my Knicks won the championship, so what are you gonna say now? Like, my favorite Clydeism is like when the Knicks blow a lead and he says, this team does not know how to handle prosperity. And I think that's funny and clever, right? Like, for a while the Knicks did, not anymore because they're amazing. But like, I don't know if Elon Musk has that moment. First of all, he's on a ton of drugs. Like, it's clear that he's loaded on like weed, cocaine, pills, more weed, gingerbread.
Perhaps let's say maybe he is. Let's not say so affirmatively.
Right.
For legal purposes, perhaps.
I mean, all those substances that I mentioned
substances
should be legal, and like, to me, they're pretty chill drugs. But you know, we've seen him on Joe Rogan. He's no stranger to the sticky, icky. But like,
and I believe when Azealia Banks was hanging with Grimes and Elon, and I thought she was mentioning that there was a lot of drug use, and when she tweeted about it as well.
Yeah, there was chaos in that kitchen, but not my kitchen, because there's small upgrades being made every night after that gingerbread. But yeah, I mean, it shocks me to think like what this does to Grimes, the artist brand. I never thought Grimes, the basketball player, would be cooler than Grimes, the musician, who was a big fan of, like, I think she makes really awesome things. But at some point in her life, she spent some time with Elon Musk, chatting with him. Maybe they went to eat some schnitzel, some Schweigels. And she was like, this guy's cool. Like, I want to spend more time with him. Like, what the hell?
Well, I could see the appeal back then, right? I mean, if someone's like, okay, this guy is incredibly wealthy, he wants to go to space, he is an innovator, and like there are women I know. I remember back then, I feel like he was like on Raya, but there were girls I know who were like, yeah, I want to like meet Elon, like I would totally date him.
Didn't Amber Heard
like,
date
well,
him?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. He had a track record of dating attractive women. He's obscenely wealthy, like futuristic. He was, at that point, everyone was calling him a genius.
Smart in a specific way. Like, he's still smart in a specific way.
I remember back then, I had friends of mine were like, oh, I just read his book. I really respect that guy. He's great. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Are you sure you read? I don't know anyone who reads. First,
I was like, you're telling me you opened a book and read it? You know,
dude,
you know what's inside that thing?
If you read the words, you would have known you're reading The Joy of Basketball by Cookies Hoops. That is not Elon Musk's memoir.
What an incredible gift.
Shaped exactly like a stocking. Yeah.
But yeah, people I know and like, this Elon guy's cool. I'm like, are you sure though? Because I feel like I'm picking something up. I'm detecting a motif, a vibe, an aura of this guy, which is he isn't.
But okay, I want to talk about how that phenomena is not exclusive to Elon Musk. And I agree with you, but like this fate has like come for Malcolm Gladwell, like this certain era of thinker that maybe like this the social economists of like the 90s and aughts, like, well, this kind of brilliance, like this autistic smartness has like taken a little bit of a beating, right? Neil deGrasse Tyson's kind of like chuckled at a little bit. The only one who survived is
Nate
Bill
Silver,
Nye, the
Nate
science
Silver's,
guy.
Nate
Yeah.
Silver's another one, kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely one of them. And I mean, I'm sure any of these guys would be incredible to talk to about their thing. But when tasked to talk about, like, what is Kyrie Irving really talking about? Like, that's a complicated thing that I don't think any of these guys are nuanced to do, right? Like, I'm certainly not. I'm saying I can't do that either. But, like, when Elon throws his hat into the ring of, like, human rights and what we can say and what's harmful to a greater goal, like, he's out of his depth a little bit.
Yeah. Also, by the way, went to a party the other night,
Oh,
and Stretch Armstrong was DJing, and he
Legend.
played Shaquilla, "Poor Righteous Teachers."
whoa, spicy.
We
Was
had
this a
just
Nets
mentioned
game at Barclays? Was he the house DJ?
They don't go that deep in the catalog. It doesn't include Brooklyn in that song, so the Nets aren't playing it.
Fair.
They were from Jersey City, Newark, one of the two. Jersey,
Wait, tell
for
me
sure.
more about this party. Paint the picture.
Stretch was DJing, playing the hits of the '90s.
I know, but what
It was at
context was
Webster
it?
Hall.
Oh, okay. What kind of party was at Webster Hall? Were there tickets? Was it like, did you go to a Facebook Christmas party?
If someone said, "Oh, by the way, that was a DoorDash party," I'm like, "Oh, really?" I don't know what it was for.
Because when someone throws a party
Friends
at
were
Webster
going,
Hall,
I'd-
there's
I'd-
money. Right.
Yeah, friends were going. I went along. Yeah, I don't actually know what it was for specifically.
Sounds like someone's avoiding discussing that he went to a Twitter party.
I
Then
I
Elon's
wish I
on the
knew.
DJ.
Let's see. Well, maybe I wonder if it's okay. Let's see here. Okay, Soul Dub closing party. I don't know what it is. This is the flyer. I guess it was a ticketed event.
Oh, so it's not a
No, this
party
isn't it.
party. It was a concert.
No, this is a different one. Anyway, yeah, I have no more information. I don't know. I'm looking at Stretch
Wow.
Armstrong's Instagram. I'm
Wow.
trying to get to the. This is the kind of research we do in real time.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's like my mind is a steel trap.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so he
Played
played.
Shaquilla, and I was impressed. And I was impressed.
I mean, it's hard to be Stretch Armstrong and play a set without touching on some hot button issues brought up by Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, can't avoid that.
It's the 80s and 90s of rap.
Then one of my friends, he was a little upset because a member of the Beat Nuts, I guess, kind of cool guyed him. I was like, huh. I feel you. Just trying to lend a sympathetic ear. he's like, I forget if it was Juju or Psycho.
Yeah, I
Someone-
was like, is his name Boo Boo? I forget. But
someone, yeah, one of those guys, I guess, treated him with disdain, and he was
do you
he
think
was not enjoying that.
Do you think Juju sits back on his throne as one of the rap gods decades after his heyday and thinks, "Ooh, I should have named that group something else"?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like he pads around his palatial mansion. You know, it's somewhere on the
palatial
100th
kitchen.
floor of Midtown Manhattan, staring out at Central Park, saying like, "What if we weren't called the Beat Nuts?"
Would I have that walk, that carbon steel walk with the extra handle, if I just named my hip hop group something other than Beat Nuts?
When Psycho Les is on the shore of his private island,
Williams
Paid for by
Sonoma towels
royalties from-
everywhere.
from Intoxicated Demons and Street Level, does he say we could have called ourselves something other than the Beat Nuts? I don't know. I don't know what goes through their heads, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, we're nuts for beats, man. It's just like we're crazy about break beats and like it's about rhythm. It's like, the beat nuts.
But yeah, someone we know had a less than positive experience running into one of the beat nuts the other night, and I
Wow.
had to hear him out about it.
Yeah, I don't. That is a bit of a soul crusher when you are a fan and integrated into that scene. You want to be known by a beat nut, yeah, especially if you spent time with a beat nut.
Yeah, you go to see Stretch Armstrong, you run into a beat nut, and you say, "Hey, I like the beat nuts." You're like, "Fuck off!" You're like, what the hell?
Or you're like, Juju, it's me, and he's just like, beat it, you nut.
I actually don't even recall what the interaction was, but it just felt like he hadn't been properly appreciated as a fan of the beat nuts, I guess. Anyway.
Well, shout out to you at this old man's party. Was there anyone under the age of 50 there?
The youngest person.
Yeah. They looked at you, and they were like, "Who's this young buck over here?"
Who's the kid?
Yeah, who brought the kid? No one's checking IDs up in here.
Meanwhile, you were queuing up to watch Avatar.
That's right.
So how is the new Avatar? I presume you've seen it. You're like the biggest Avatar fan I know.
Yeah, I have a whole back piece that's all blue with all the Avatar characters on it. Do you call them leg sleeves? What's a full leg? Is that like a
That's
stocking?
weird. Yeah, I thought you were an Argentinian soccer player, but then I looked closer and it was the Navi, or is that how it's
Yeah.
pronounced?
I could be the GOAT footy player or a super fan of Avatar. Same thing. I did not
see the first movie either.
Oh, I
So
saw the hell out of the first movie.
And I know people always said like, well, it was one of the most popular movies, maybe at the time, maybe the most popular movie of all time in terms of sales, and it was a cultural phenomenon that also kind of immediately vanished.
This has been talked about on the internet. No one can remember that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely saw it. I enjoyed it. I can barely remember it, too. I'm a James Cameron super fan. Like, come on. Terminator, Aliens 2. Like, this guy's... I love Titanic. We've talked about it. This guy's amazing. True Lies, get out of here. But this is sort of like the World Cup, right? Or soccer in general. If you're not into soccer, all you hear about is how popular it is. And I'm like, well, if soccer's so popular, then how come I don't know anybody who watches it?
Was the original Avatar a 3D movie, or am I misremembering that?
I wonder if that was an option. I think it was. I forget. Again, I forget many things about that movie. I remember liking it quite a bit. I was like, that was cool. I love science fiction. Sigourney Weaver's awesome. Tall guys who look like Chris Bosh are amazing. I love Chris Bosh. Forgotten Heedle. They don't win those championships without him. So obviously I loved that James Cameron opus. But like many things are happening, right? Like it wasn't a fantastic story. There was too much going on that it wasn't quite memorable for someone who's so good at creating like unforgettable movie images. And that it was the rise of like CGI, so maybe it was hard to file away these images that just seemed like, I don't know, drawings or camouflage. I don't know. It wasn't noteworthy. So there's conspiracy theories. My conspiracy theory is like it didn't exist. We're part of a weird social phenomenon that we all created together. Sort of like Jason Tatum's the MVP until one person like me, the hero of the bunch, is like, maybe he's not the MVP. Maybe the most valuable player is the most valuable player. And everyone's like, what? Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like you had the Emperor has no clothes moment for this NBA season. Everyone's like, well, I guess he's the MVP. And then you stood up, the lone.
That's right.
The lone voice, with the innocence of a child.
Yeah.
And said,
I was like,
yeah, but why?
Yeah.
Why?
oh, wait, explain to me why. 20 games into the season, how come your MVP isn't top 3 in any positive category?
Look, I don't know if we need to belabor that NBA media is Celtics media. It is a
Yes.
little
The
green
NBA
hand
is a
tucked inside of
Celtics
a
league.
velvet glove. But it is, I mean, it literally is one and the same. NBA media operates, as we all know, as a way of propagating Celtics lore and uplifting players on the team. And we can talk about MVP voting or defensive player of the year voting. And if I was a bettor, which I'm not, you could really handicap stuff based on like who Celtics media is unwilling to vote for and why. So like Embiid really can't win MVP
He will not.
because they don't like the Sixers, but even more so, they want to say that Jason Tatum is better than Joel Embiid, despite all evidence to the contrary. And if you give Joel an MVP, then that puts him ahead of Tatum. And like, it's going to be very hard for Durant to win an MVP while he's in Brooklyn because they want to say that Tatum is better than him. But Giannis has been established. Giannis is better. You can keep giving him MVPs. Jokic, different kind of player, different conference. You can give him an MVP, but you can't give it to your rivals. You can't give it to people in New York or in Philly or in Los Angeles. You can't do it because that puts their players ahead of your own. And you can see how this informs even the voting blocks, right? You go back, you can see who voted for who. And, you know, Jokic beat Embiid by a fairly substantial portion. But if you look at Boston writers, Boston media, other than Kendrick Perkins, they voted all for Jokic. Every single one of them across the board, which was not proportional to how the voting broke down. They voted abnormally for Jokic and not for Embiid. So all this getting around to the narrative shift for this season has been really funny to watch. You know, we've been taught by the same voting class over the last few years. It's just about the best player. It's just about impact metrics. It's just about who statistically is putting together this command performance, who is the best player, who is single-handedly healthy and leading their team to victory. That's what it's been. It's Giannis, it's Jokic, that's it. It's not about whose team is the best. It's not about who has the best narrative. It's not about who leads the league in scoring. It's about
who are not tired of. Right.
It's who the metric says is the best player. And it is written in stone from the Boston media class over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, Andrew, it appears that the MVP race is now about team performance.
Yeah.
The leading scorer on the team with the best record, that would be your MVP. Completely backtracking on everything that has been discussed over the last couple of years.
Yeah, NBA.com itself was like, they had a roundtable discussion about should the MVP be the best player on the best team? Discuss. And I'm like, it's because the Celtics currently have the best record. Since then, now it's the Bucks, so it's Giannis. Giannis should be number 1. Tatum falls to number 7 or 8, which is pretty incredible in itself. But he's the 7th or 8th best guy, which is very incredible.
This is funny, right? When you have to create a way to weasel around everything that's been established.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we just have to come up with a reason that like our guy is the MVP despite him not being like one of the best players in the league in this elite small group, despite him not leading the league in any categories, despite metrics putting him like a top 15 guy this year. Mm-hmm. What do we do? So you have to come up with your argument. You say, well, it's because he's the leading scorer on the team with the best record. The problem is, now you've created Ja Morant as an MVP candidate, or now it's just Giannis, who isn't even having a great season.
5. Yeah, he's not.
He is, by his own lofty standards, he's not having a great season. He's still very good. He's putting up big numbers. But now you've created a thing where you're like, well, it's Giannis then. Because if Boston is no longer has the best record in basketball, then we just have to shift it to someone else. And Tatum is actually not a candidate at all. Like his candidacy is solely based on the team having the best record. And if they don't, then he's not MVP anymore.
Yeah, it's a fraught thing doing the best player and the best team thing, because if Middleton stays healthy, if Drew Holiday stays healthy, and Brook Lopez continues to dominate defensively, Giannis is going to get the MVP, which is kind of like a tough way to view the most valuable player in the league. The most valuable player in the league, to me, is like a handful of guys. Curry went down, so that sucks. So he's unless he comes back strong, which he still might. He's probably out of the discussion. AD, but you still have Luka and you still have Jokic, and Joel Embiid. Those three players, like, okay, let's do it this way. If you took Tatum off the Celtics and replace him with Joel Embiid, that team has multiple championships, I think. If you take Tatum off the Celtics and replace him with Jokic, we're looking at one of the best teams we've ever seen. Because those players, season to season, are better.
Well, if you look at box plus minus, and I'm not a huge fan of that stat, but I don't really like any of the cumulative metric stats. But it's okay as far as what it is. It's a good snapshot.
Good players have
good
BPM.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, Jokic is number one by quite a bit. And then you've got Doncic, Curry, Embiid, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, SGA, Zion, Halliburton, Sabonis, Lillard, John Morant, Pascal Siakam, and then you get to Tatum.
Yeah. That's too far now. Yeah.
I just mean, I don't think you should be voting based on this specifically, but like, if we have established that metrics matter and stats matter and efficiency matters, and like, it's just Jokic again. I thought Embiid should have been MVP last year. I thought his story was better. He led the league in scoring, but they had the Simmons drama. They had a better record. I thought Embiid was a better candidate than Jokic last year for a variety of reasons, and I also thought that Jokic had an MVP, and Giannis had an MVP, and those three guys have been the best players in the league, and they're all big men. I thought Embiid deserved that award for several reasons, or at least there were compelling reasons to give him the MVP. But this year, it's fucking Jokic, man. He's too good. It's absurd. He's just too freaking good.
And that point that you made, I think we, as the voters, also have player fatigue. Like LeBron should have more MVPs, but people were just tired of him, so Derrick Rose got one, And I think people have story fatigue too. So what you're saying last year was true. I thought Jokic was clearly the MVP last year, but Joel had the better story. Joel was the more magnetic personality. The Sixers went through a really interesting season, and Joel came out on top of that. And I'm like, just based off of narrative, you can give it to that guy. He's awesome.
And he led the league in scoring. I mean, I just mean there was a good, compelling thing. Like, yes, Jokic had better metrics and whatnot, but like, Embiid had a better team. Embiid led the league in scoring. He had a better story, and also he deserved to be rewarded for the season he put together in the way that Jokic and Giannis have been also rewarded. But again, we know who does the voting.
Yeah. And to end my point there, the story fatigue is they were like, well, we gave it to the statistical guy last year, so Tatum gets the story award because we're tired of doing Jokic back-to-back as this like immaculate statistical player. Tatum is wearing that green and gold, baby. Like, he's the heart and soul of the NBA, and to which these voters are not wrong, right? Like, I think if they are indeed fans of a team, like, this is their most wonderful player in decades. I'm not even arguing with that. He's going to get it. Tatum's going to win MVP. I think that's going to happen. Even if the Celtics finish second, third, or fourth in the statistics or in the standings, they're going to come up with like, well, it's about net rating, actually. It's about offensive rating. It's not about wins and losses.
They are 100% just going to vote for their guy. They are just
it's going to be Jason Tatum.
It doesn't, whatever the justification is, there is a oversized proportion of the voters who are Celtics fans and are just going to vote for him. However they reconcile that decision, it'll be something, but it doesn't matter because we saw this happen and they did it with Marcus Smart. They were going to vote for Time Lord. He gets hurt. They just abruptly shifted to the next Celtic, who is a good defender, and just generated a Defensive Player of the Year award for Smart after, again, season after season of saying it's all about rim protection, it's all about metrics. Gobert. And then, lo and behold, a new candidate for a new league, a perimeter player. They just literally just conjured a Defensive Player of the Year award for Marcus Smart out of nowhere. So I do not doubt the ability of the green hand to just give an MVP award to Tatum because they want to, because that's their guy.
And also like we were talking about the MVP way too early this season. Like 15 games into it, it was like, there's your MVP.
And why is that? We know why.
the Celtics were shooting out of their minds, right? They were just like, in the last 10 games, they've come back to earth. Their team stats are like middle, like things will balance out. This is the whole thing of last week's perfect pod, is like, we're not ready for a lot of these takes. Like, we gotta wait till like kind of January to see this all level out. The Knicks are not gonna keep on. The Knicks will lose more games this year. Like, these are just snapshots, but sample size, etc., whatever. But of course, the campaigning.
To your point, we only started hearing about MVP this early because there is a vested interest in one guy winning it. And look, I'm saying, if you said Ben, you got to bet on an MVP candidate, I'd put my money on him.
Yeah,
as you've said on this show, they have the votes. They are going to vote for their dude. It's the green wave. They are going to vote for their guys. Tatum has been all NBA on the defensive side of the ball. He's not even he's like the fourth best defensive starter on that team, and he's been all NBA defense twice, I think. Like, he is a completely average defensive player. They just gave it to him. So, like, I would put my money on Tatum. Like, that would be the bet that I would 100. Do.
Yeah, he's gonna get it. But the BMM are doing a bad job of framing it. They have to stop talking about Jaylen Brown, because they're just like, he's also the MVP. I'm like, then Tatum is not. And they're like, and Marcus Smart is the best defensive player. And I remember a broadcast, even, I forgot who said it, but Marcus Smart did something great at the end of a game. I think the Celtics game. The LA game. And they were like, he is the heart and soul of the Celtics. And I'm like, you got to stop saying that if you want to create an MVP out of Tatum. Tatum either has to be a lone wolf, or you give all these bonus awards to everybody, and
well, they're just too greedy. They want it all.
Yeah, like, if you look at Jaylen Brown's statistics, he's good, but like, is he better than Jalen Brunson? Like, arguable. You can fight over that. In fantasy, in betting, in gambling, you would probably trade those two for each other. They're on the same top 30,
let's
40.
Shift. I agree, but let's shift gears here. Let's not talk about teams that have lost 4 of the last 5 games. We're talking about a loser team. Like, they've lost 4 or 5. They've lost to Orlando twice in the last 3 days. Like, let's stop talking about losers. Let's talking about winners. The New York Knicks, 7 in a row. Are you a believer in this team, Andrew?
Sitting on my throne. Why do you think my kitchen's so sick now, man? I am coursing with confidence and hubris. You've never seen the likes of this before. What a run, man. 7 in a row. We beat the Charlotte Hornets. We beat the Chicago Bulls twice. DeMar DeRozan, eat it, man. We got this down. I don't know if we're going to lose another game this season.
Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm looking at the schedule, and I just don't see where the Knicks would lose. I mean, like, I guess it'll happen based just on, math, I guess, right? I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, so Warriors, that's a win. Raptors, that's a win. Mm-hmm. They play the Bulls again, that's easy. Sixers, I don't see how they match up on Christmas, no. Mavericks.
I don't see an MVP
Knicks.
on the Sixers. Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right. Spurs, that's easy win. I mean, this just keeps on going. Definitely.
So my short view is, this is amazing. I love this, man. Like, instant gingerbread to the dome. Like, amazing. Endorphins. I'm on a high, baby.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Andrew, look at this. Houston, win. Phoenix, win. San Antonio, win. Toronto, win. Milwaukee, win. Indiana, win. Washington, win. Like, this... Detroit, right. Toronto, Washington, wins. Atlanta, Toronto, Cleveland, Boston, Brooklyn, Los Angeles, wins. Miami, LA. Like, we're almost getting into March, and I just don't see a Knicks loss on the horizon here.
All jokes aside, you make a good point. You listed all these teams. I don't see any of those teams beating.
Like, when we get into March, into March, right? There is a tough stretch here. New Orleans, Boston, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston. Like, but win. That's 5 wins.
Yeah, I mean, these are all cakewalks. The real test would be staying healthy and making sure the team stays grounded, because You know, everyone says about the Knicks, they're their own worst enemy. They're not playing the opponent; they're playing themselves.
No, I do see a trap game. March 23rd, they go against Miami, an ancient enemy. You know,
Pat Riley,
Mothra,
the
Godzilla
Spectre.
thing. Yeah. And then they go to Orlando. It's a road game. It's a back-to-back classic trap game. Now that
There's
I could
two Wagners there.
I could see the Knicks stumbling in that game, coming out a little flat. But again, we're talking March 23rd. But until then, yeah, all wins.
Yeah. I had to leave. I had to take a break from a bunch of things like Elon Musk, not cooking in a wok, and my New York Knicks chat. Like, ooh,
Are you still listening to the Beatnuts at least?
Juju, it's me. You can tell everyone it was me. Juju didn't recognize me, man. My feelings were hurt.
It's me, the Quo Man.
Yeah.
I don't know you, dude.
Yeah, it's me, the guy who's nuts for your beats, boss. But like, I think, these chats that I'm in, and like, I love talking about the Knicks, as you know. I could just have beer and flap my gums about the history of the Knicks, who's on the team now, what the long view, short view is. I just love it. It's not emotional. It's not sad. It's not anything. It's just super fun. And my chats, like, I'm in chats multiple with like Bing Bong Nation concentrated. It is like that guy doing the and like fuck your life, like all in condensed into like 3 minutes.
Straight, like gingerbread house, like to the dome.
To the fucking dome, man. Like during a Knicks game in 3 minutes, just like these takes that just like have my steam coming from my ears. Like, Thibodeau should be excommunicated. He should be sent to jail. Like, RJ Barrett might be 5-time MVP. Julius Randle should be sent to like Alcatraz. Like, it is the classic New York Post stuff. And for a while, it was funny. And I don't know why I engaged, but like at this point, this season is so interesting and fun that I cannot deal with knuckleheads anymore, man.
Well, my question is, now that they're winning games, what is
the vibe?
What's the vibe? I mean, I felt like people would be excited. Like
they are
lost in like 2 weeks.
So now they're like, can this team make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? Like, is Brunson the best Knick of all time? And I'm like, hold on. Stephon Marbury, and just the mention of like anything that isn't part of this blue and orange wave gets pummeled, like the Elon's Twitter. And like, I bring up Marbury, and I think I brought him up last episode, only because I think we found a good player in Brunson. I thought Marbury was amazing, and something went wrong. They paired him with Jamal Crawford. That's why Donovan Mitchell doesn't quite work. That's why Quentin Grimes is working, because he's a chaos player who does stuff in the margins, who's defensive minded. Like, that is a wonderful pairing with a player like Brunson, who's kind of like a score first guard who can pass, but like he's more of a combo guard than a true point guard. And like,
well, yeah, I mean, I think the point you're making is something that we've discussed about the Sixers, is that when they have Harden and they have Maxey, you have two guys who are, poor defenders, but also excellent offensive players. But at what point does that become redundant? Like, how do you manage talent when it's concentrated in one area? And I feel like watching Philly with Maxey out, when Melton's playing and Thibault's playing, that's a different team.
Cool team. That's a cool team.
That team defends. And
I love Maxey.
I looked at, this is not even anti-Maxey. We're just saying personnel, the way it's stacked up. If you have Embiid and Harden, you don't really need other scorers. You need guys who are perimeter defenders, guys who can shoot, guys who can spread the court, but guys who cause chaos. And I do really think that, like, as much as we talk about, the offensive inflation, the sort of omnipresence of combo guards around the league, that there are just a zillion of these guys who can score. I think when you see Grimes and you see Melton and you see what Thibault can do, like, that hyper disruptive defender, like Herb Jones, those guys are rare.
And they
Because,
spell victories, man. They get you wins.
They are fucking important.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Celtics and for all the acclaim that Brown and Tatum get for their scoring, you look at why that team works, and it's like, oh, it's guys like Smart, it's guys like Horford, it's guys like Time Lord, it's like dudes who play defense, and like it those disruptive guys are just so freaking rare. You know, when I see the Bulls falling apart, I'm like, I don't know if that happens if Lonzo's healthy.
Oh, no way. Lonzo Ball's a great player. And like quickly back to the Knicks, it's like they finally have these chaos players, right? Like I really love Mitchell Robinson, as you know. And you know, he has taken a step back from like the statistical anomaly to just like a really cool player. He makes some defensive mistakes, he stunts the wrong ways and all this stuff. But like he's a wonderful chaos player. Grimes finally healthy. Everything we hoped for. Just kind of a weird dude on the court. Quickly, secretly good. Like these are really interesting marginal players when you have main characters who are kind of normie. Like what Brunson does and what Julius Randle do is essential to win games because they're bucket getters. But they're like their prototypes are known. You can defend against them. But when you have all these other pieces like whirling dervishes around the court, you can hide an RJ Barrett better. And I just wanted RJ to do one thing, and he's doing it. He's scoring with reasonable efficiency.
You know, I think when we talk about how teams are constructed, there is the idea of coherence. Like a team like the Bucks, right? They came up with a strategy. They were, you know, heliotropic in the sense of everything goes through Giannis, and then they have Middleton kind of as like the security, like I don't know, security valve, let's say, whatever.
I like Middleton.
And they had a theory, and they played a certain way, and they're like, you know what? This doesn't quite work. We have to go out there and get Drew Holiday. Like we need another component. But you look at that team, and it's the Bucks. They win all the time. They play great defense. They're extremely coherent, and it's like, okay, we've got our defensive players, we've got our rim protectors, we have a bunch of shooters. Only one or two guys actually are allowed to really create. The other guys kind of spread the court. But I was thinking about the Pelicans and how good they are, and I really like that team is kind of incoherent in a very fun way. That it isn't like Boston is very coherent. It's like two scorers, everyone else defends and kind of moves the ball and spreads the court.
It's a good strategy. Yeah,
it's good strategy and it's effective. And this is not a criticism of anyone. It's just that there's more than one way to skin a cat, I guess. But when you look at the Pelicans, I'm like, this team is incoherent to me, and in the coolest way. It's like you have a giant at center who like is one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, but he doesn't, you know, he can shoot a little bit. You know, he can space the floor out for three, but generally speaking, is just like an offensive rebounding monster. You have Zion, who's impossible to keep away from the basket when he gets to his left on the block, but who also can pass. It's like you have two ISO sort of, I don't know, almost like traditional combo scorers and Ingram and McCollum. You have Jones as this super long-limbed defensive specialist. You have Alvarado. Like, I love how the Pelicans don't actually make sense, and I think that there's like an advantage to being that asymmetrical. Like, they can beat you in weird ways that you can't actually prepare for in the same way that you could scout, say, the Bucks, even if the Bucks are extremely tough to beat as well.
I agree. It's a strange team. Like I remember reading an interview with CJ McCollum, and he was like, "Yo, on this team, I might have to like average 8, 9, 10 assists." Like I look around and I'm like, they need me. And we're forgetting about Dyson Daniels, who is also a strange player, right? Like very
Larry
tall.
Nance, like Trey Murphy, like just a cool roster.
I like them all. I like all these players. They're so interesting.
Jackson Hayes, Devontae Graham, like it's a bunch of like specialists basically.
Yeah, and you know McCollum was like, I might have to do it because there's no one else on the team who can do that for us. You know, he was being chill about it. And Point Zion, when they switched to the Point Zion set, like I just love that. It's a strange team, to your point. It is a strange team. It is a fun team, man. That Zion dunk was like a gift because not only was that cool as hell, that sparked a whole discussion about like what they can and can't do. People forget like Chris Paul tried to get a layup to kind of stick it to the Pelicans, missed it, and then Zion dunked it home. And like, I really enjoy these weird teams being good because the normie teams will also be good, and they're there. The Celtics, I don't know, the Pelicans being this successful is encouraging for rebuilding team development.
Yeah, I agree, because obviously having the number one pick in the draft and getting Zion Williams, who, coming out of college was viewed as a generational talent. And, we remember the Knicks obsessing over him and Knicks fans like, we're going to get Zion. They're right.
Yeah.
And this guy's got a scoring efficiency of like 65%, putting up 25 a game. He's passing. His defensive stats have really jumped too. He's more active. He's rebounding better. Like he is just a wonderful, wonderful player and living up to expectations after his injuries. Like, he rules.
Yeah.
You look at this team, you're like, you guys are 5th in offensive rating, 6th in defensive rating,
for the
3rd
season
in net rating. Yeah, like the Pelicans are good, and that's with Ingram missing, almost half the season.
Yeah, and also they have the Lakers pick, which is insane. Like, I'm not saying the Pelicans. Well, we've talked about the Pelicans preseason wise. I don't think they're going to win a championship, but
they might.
They did this well. They did this well, right? And they have a superstar. So I'm excited. I'm a huge Dyson Daniels fan too. Like, whatever. It is early in the season. I don't expect them to sustain this kind of performance necessarily, because it's really difficult to do it without like 3 stars. But I'm excited that they are the thing to talk about in the West.
So yeah, going forward, they have a swap with the Lakers this year.
Currently number 10.
They have a swap for next year with Milwaukee due to the Holiday trade. They also have the Lakers' first-round pick next year, or potentially the 2025 if they want it. They have Milwaukee's pick as well, I think, with a light protection. They have a swap with Milwaukee in 2026, and they have Milwaukee's pick in 2027. So, like, we've talked a lot about the Lakers stuff, but it's really, they got those 4 picks from the Bucks too. Obviously, the Bucks are very good and are not going to be bad in the next few years, most likely. But to the point you made before, they are a contender, and they also do own a bunch of, like, a trove of assets from 2 other teams.
Yeah, and they have pieces that are very flippable. Ingram, McCollum, right? And so their timeline is looking pretty good. These are picks that are far away, but also they got their guy. They got Zion. So I don't know. We'll see. Do you have any Memphis thoughts? I love how plotting they are. I mean, Morant. Did you see Morant get kicked out for
that was funny.
Subtweeting a ref?
He was just like chatting with the fan, being like, "Yeah, the refs won't let me ball." Basically, he ejected him.
Okay, this is gonna be weird.
Hold on, wait.
What?
Sorry to interrupt this, guys. I have breaking news. In October 2009, D's Nuts, a semi-autographical theater production conceived by Sasha Jenkins, shout out to him, and starring the Beatnuts, ran for 3 days at the Ohio Theater as part of the New York Hip Hop Theater Festival. Now check this out. The Beatnuts partnered with West Coast hip-hop group The Alcoholics in 2016 to make a super crew known as the Lick Nuts.
Oh, I remember.
Wow.
Briefly.
Wow.
Yeah, I love the Alcoholics.
That's on
man.
their. Yeah, that's on their. Those are their most recent endeavors.
Wow.
Both Juju and Psycho Les contributed beats for Tony Toka, The Peacemaker 3, Return of the 50 MCs. That's what they've been up to.
It's funny you mentioned that. Literally last night, as I was searching for sheet trays for my kitchen, I was thinking the prank call needs to come back stronger. There needs to be a way to be like, hey, it's your friend D. And it's like, well, D what? It's like, snuts. Like, we need more of that energy in the world because it's just too serious out there, man. We need the version of the internet crank call.
Like, does this apply to Imagine Dragons?
I'm gonna fall for this. What do you mean?
Imagine me dragging these.
Amazing. Yes, more of that. But like we're doing podcasts, so like, of course, this format lives
I
healthily.
mean, do you think we
here.
should we have Candace on the pod?
Yes.
Candace Dick. Yeah, I guess they can
Amazing.
just go
Yes.
on indefinitely. Yeah.
Yes. Is there? I can't think of a relatable NBA name for this. Is there a? I can't think of one. There's no NBA name that's worthy of this prank.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. I think that's something we'll have to research.
Yeah, we'll come.
Make
The
sure
interns are on it.
Yeah, they're on that. They're trying to come up with like bowl jokes and stuff.
When's Utah gonna play for Utah? Memphis, though. Did you see that thing? Where do you stand on that? Should Ja Morant have been punished for his subtweeting?
I mean, of course not. I like the NBA was like, well, yeah, he was. They kind of didn't walk it back, and I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I know you got to protect your refs, but he was talking to like a fan. Like you can't eject a guy for criticizing the refs to a fan. Like, you just can't do it. That's ridiculous.
I 100% disagree. I think you can.
You think they can? I mean, they can, and they did.
Well, let's say you're at a bar and someone next to you is like, this fucking guy from Rochester. Yo, I can smell him from here. This fucking guy's a loser. He likes Elon Musk. Like, ooh, I'd knock him out. You'd be like, sir, do you want to take this outside? He's like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my friend. It's like, I can hear you speaking of me. It's like, trust me, I'm talking to my friend about someone else. It's like, this fucking guy who just talked. Of course, man. This is just like simple bar stuff or human stuff, right? Like, you can't, as Ja Morant, you can't talk about the refs when they're standing right there to someone in the crowd loudly. It's like, you should just turn around and, I think Ja Morant's a coward. He should just turn around and talk smack to the ref. He had to subtweet.
I mean, I get what you're saying here, but I also think like you're allowed to complain to the refs, but you're not allowed. You know what I mean? Like, you're allowed to.
Here's
like,
a better
can say,
yeah.
like, you can't necessarily go after the game and sit at the podium and say like the refs sucked because you'll get fined. Mm-hmm. But like, I know what you mean. Like, he's performatively criticizing the refs in front of the refs.
Yeah.
So like, I understand your point, and I think that makes sense.
I mean,
But
John's
like,
kind of corny,
aren't you allowed to say that the refs suck to a teammate, to someone else? Can't be like, yo, these refs suck. Aren't you allowed to? I don't know.
Apparently not. I mean, the refs are all like feelings, right? Like, which is annoying about refereeing. They still do it better than like, soccer and American football. Those refs are just like guessing the whole game, and we're like sitting on the seat of the edge of our seats as they're just like, I think the ball goes around here. I think that was a foul. Yes, that was a foul. It's like, that changes the whole course of the game. But anyway, like, I think Ja Morant is one of my favorite players to watch, no doubt. But he's like kind of a corny dude, right? Like, social media wise, he's got Usher at every game. He kind of like does these weird social media viral moments where he like doesn't tip a server enough, but posts it. Like, he's just kind of like, this is not a Zoomer thing, because I like Zoomers quite a bit. Ja Morant's is kind of like dorky, right?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's pretty funny on social media.
True. He likes it, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't find anything he. I don't think. Yeah, I don't find him really objectionable in those ways. I mean, I think he's fun to watch play. I don't get annoyed by him dancing. I don't. I think. Yeah, I think
dancing's
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, there are a lot of corny players out there. I don't really put him into that category. What I think is, I mean, I don't put him in that category. I think he's cool. But what's also interesting is like, when do you become hated? And like, he is the most popular player amongst young kids, for obvious reasons. Like his highlights are exceptional. He can fly. He's young. He dances. He looks cool. It's like, all right. So you know, other than the game he got ejected against the Thunder, they have been absolutely murdering people since Triple J came back, and they had won, I think, 7 straight, and had won like 9 of 11, and they were just washing people. I mean, they beat the Pelicans by like 20. They beat the Sixers fairly handily. They beat the Bucks by 40. They're just washing people, and like, when does it go from this is an up-and-coming young team, and this is without Bane also, this is an up-and-coming young team, to like, they are really good, they might win a title, and then we start saying, but why didn't they? Who's to blame? Is it that he's too busy dancing, he's too busy talking to the fans,
Those stakes are
he's
already
not
out there.
focused.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, right? It's like there is some juncture where people are going to say, well, Ja's personality detracts from his like wanting to win it enough. Like they are there. Yeah.
This narrative already happened last year, right? When the team wasn't better without him, but won a bunch of games and statistically were really good without him. And when he goes down in the playoffs, they're like, well, they're better without him. I'm like, oh, we're doing this already with Ja, which is like, you're never better without your best player. But I always thought like Jaren Jackson Jr. was as good as Ja as a prospect, even better maybe. And we talked about this last week, and I don't want to repeat it, but just inserting him back into a really good team will make that team elite. And especially when you just have him do the optimal thing, which is protect the rim and shoot corner threes, or just threes in general. Like, that team is not an underdog team. Those are very high picks. Like, of course they found Dylan Brooks, and they're kind of stocky and cool, and Desmond Bane was kind of a great find late in the draft. But like, John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. are very high draft picks, man. They like really invested in these two opportunities to take these two players.
Yeah, and they made some moves in this last offseason that I wondered if they would end up hurting the team. You know, they traded Melton for a first-round pick for Philly, and they took I think it was Jake LaRavia with that pick, I believe. I think it was him. They had 2 first-round picks. I think that was him. Yeah, and then they went and they let Kyle Anderson go. And those guys, those guys got a lot of minutes for them, and they're both they're good, valuable players. Yeah. And I think, wait, was it LaRavia or maybe it was the other guy? I take that back. It was the other rookie they have, Roddy. Anyway, all that to say, for being a contender, they did like let some guys go, and they made some moves to bring in younger dudes. Like to your point, they're not creeping up on people this year. That is a extremely good team. I mean, they're first in the West right now. All the praise we just lavished on the Pelicans, they are behind the Grizzlies. And again, they have not even had Bane. Like, that team is very good.
Their backup to Ja is a really good backup, Tyus Jones. Like, he could start on a bunch of teams. I thought he was a great hold too. I like that. I like the identity of that team. They know what they're good at defensively, and they have kind of like a freelance offensive juggernaut in their guard position. So like, I love this team. I hope either the Pelicans or the Grizzlies get really far in the playoffs. I think it's awesome. And I hope the Grizzlies get a new jersey design eventually. Jesus, can we get some... Mm-hmm. Can we get a John Morant jersey we want? That's not a throwback.
Yeah, I love
Because I
the
want-
Vancouver one, but the other ones I'm like, these need to be a little spicier.
Yeah, man, he's like the most enigmatic, interesting player in the NBA, maybe. And like, I got my money. I want to upgrade my jersey collection, and I just can't buy these like sky blue, dark blue jerseys, man.
Yeah, they are not exciting enough. Even like the font itself, it's just they're just too boring. It doesn't even look like an NBA jersey to some degree.
I know, and it's like, dude, it has
But
the
the
reverse-
Vancouver ones, but the Vancouver ones are really sick.
insanely sick. Like obviously that whole generation of jerseys, the Raptors, the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, like incredible. It also helps that they had marquee players. Well, maybe not the Grizzlies, but the Raptors and Vince Carter, and obviously KG, Sam Cassell, Spreewell, Terrell Brandon, all these great players. Like that helps, but those are the jerseys we're still buying. I'm like, can we come up with anything new? Just put some spice into this stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at them potentially for gifts for friends, family. I'm like, the Vancouver one's the only one that really pops.
You mean the throwbacks?
Yeah.
No way. The purple Raptors one with the Raptor dribbling the ball and says Marcus Camby on
Oh,
the
that one's
back.
great. That was great. Sorry, I was just talking about the Grizz. I was like, oh, but the old school Toronto ones. I mean, honestly, the ones that we all made fun of end up always being the best. It's just cyclical.
This is
Like, oh, the Raptor is so lame. Like, actually, that's the tightest one.
kind of a rule in art I have. Every time you see something, you're like, ooh, that's a great reaction. Because eventually, if you think about it long enough, you're like, oh, that's super tight. Like, does someone want to see an airbrushed, exact rendition of someone's face? Or does someone want to see something weird, and then that weird thing sticks with you and it becomes like a part of your memory? Yeah, man, this is talking about like players in the margins, like jerseys in the margins, like all this great stuff. I don't want jerseys all to look like the Raptors jerseys. I want a couple of them to look like that. The Knicks, Celtics, Lakers should never change. Those are beautiful typographic relics, and I believe in that tradition. But if you're the Orlando Magic, let it fly, man. Let it rip, Oklahoma City Thunder.
I was about to say, there are certain teams, especially the ones that were expansion teams, but also ones that just don't have that kind of iconic jersey. And we're talking about like the original franchises. Back when there were two teams in the league and Bill Russell was winning MVP every year. It was like a team and a half when he was like winning titles.
Yeah.
Those original jerseys are really good. But like the Hawks, you've been around forever.
Go for it. Yeah.
Your best ones were the Mountain Dew energy drink ass ones.
Those are so ugly. Venom
That's
yellow.
what I mean. Like, yeah, you went full Venom yellow.
Woo.
It was kind of a checkerboardy effect or something. I was like, those were your best uniforms because all the other ones with a hawk on the chest and like those are boring. At least you got weird.
Yeah, there's yo, man. That was a Venom yellow era. I had a Venom yellow North Face that I got.
I
on
remember.
eBay. It's like I paid like $10 for it.
I was gonna say, what size is that jacket? Because I seem to remember it felt floor length when you were wearing it.
So when it's brick outside, when it's very cold, like the to your bone cold in New York City, my jacket selection is incredible. The Venom yellow one is double XL because that was the only one it was like $10 on eBay. It was back stock. But I also have that blue vintage North Face that's triple XL that goes probably to my knee. And it's like a sauna in there, man. I'll be walking to the Christmas bar, toasty as all hell, and it's not the gingerbread talking.
Yeah, inside the Venom yellow,
Sick.
it is
Sick.
It is swampy. It's balmy inside there. No matter how cold it is surrounding you, inside, like the dew point is crazy.
You know you made the right decision when you go to meet up with Hot Dog Legs, who's like a good 4 feet taller than me, and he's like, "Can I buy that jacket off of you?" It looks like it would fit me really great. It's like it would be kind of like roomy for me. I can't find anything that like is big on me, and I'm like, sorry, sir, sorry, hot dog legs. I'll be keeping this item. He's tried. He's texted me twice, being like, "Let me buy that North Face off you." I'm like, "Fuck no."
Dude, that Venom yellow works when you're on vacation. It works. It works in all environments.
It's no Drees.
Hawks uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my mind, you were two quos stacked inside a Venom yellow sarcophagus.
Well, it could be side
Your
to
feet
side.
protruded from the bottom.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a trench coat made of fluff.
It's huge, but I've also, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've sized up all my sweatshirts and t-shirts. So I'm currently a double XL t-shirt, if I can get one. And then my sweatshirts are also double XL. I'm feeling this vibe.
I was talking to my friend, and you would come into their store, and they're like, "Why are they buying all these huge clothes?" Like he said he was waiting months for the double XL. Like he's not that large though. It's like, look, he's sized up. It is what it is. He's 6'6" now.
Shout out to Pillow Cat Books. Everyone swing by and purchase one of their amazing items. It's a bookstore very close to your heart, family-wise, that has the most amazing concept. It's just vintage and new books that are animal-themed. There's actually a pillow cat in the store. It's awesome. And of course, I sweat their merch. It's beautifully designed. And I've been waiting for this merch. I've been waiting for this double XL sweatshirt. And they're like, we only have L. And I'm like, well, who's going to wear that? It's like, okay, should I wait for the double XL? It's like, we're not going to make those. I'm like, what the hell? I'll take it, but you have offended me deeply.
You're like, okay, fine. Triple XL.
Yeah. So when's the 3X coming? I mean,
all right. You got me. 7XL, the God shines infinite.
Imagine me being a fool walking into a bar in a large sweatshirt. Forget it, man. I bought it just because I was embarrassed for her. I was just like, this is embarrassing. I'll take it off of you. This means nothing to me.
They're like, who are they buying these for? I'm like, for them.
For me.
Huh.
For
he's sized up. God damn it.
Don't you listen to Cookies Hoops in the future? I've sized up.
He's sized up.
Yeah, man. Pants are the same, but the tops gotta go big.
Man, holidays are almost here. We're draped in Venom yellow. We're just eating gingerbread houses. We're just facing gingerbread houses.
Just obliterating ourselves on those roofs, man. The shrubbery will knock you on your ass, man.
I got a shutter. Save for later.
Yeah.
Microdosing the shutters.
If you get to the door, you know you're in trouble.
Pulling out a tiny little staircase inside, and little couches.
Yeah.
Like,
do not let that snow dust touch your skin.
Yeah. It actually has killed several law enforcement people. Yeah, a couple cops say OD'd.
Yeah.
OD'd in that alcoholic gingerbread house.
Yeah, it's that alcoholic gingerbread snow skin contact. Beware.
Are
man.
they having panic attacks, or are they actually dying and touching the shingles?
The internet will decide.
Cookies.
I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.